They still talk about her on bases, not loudly, not like a legend written in a handbook, but quietly, in the hallways, in chow lines, in late-night barracks conversations when recruits wonder how much a human can truly endure. You hear about the girl who smoked 6 Marines in under 2 minutes, the one they called Princess? Yeah, the one who became a SEAL. Her real name was Lydia Hale, but long before she earned the trident, long before the after-action reports and the quiet respect of men twice her size, she was just a young woman standing alone in the open courtyard of Camp Granger, a place that had broken stronger people and buried their confidence under ridicule. This is the story of how she rose, not in spite of the abuse, but through it. The training courtyard was a slab of concrete glowing under the late afternoon sun. Heat shimmered above it, carrying the rough laughter of Marines who had finished their drills early. A single bus rolled to a stop beside the administrative building, and new candidates filed out. That's when Lydia stepped down. Small frame, back straight, quiet eyes, blue, steady, unreadable. She wasn't dressed any differently than the others, but something about her calmness made her stand out and made her a target. A tall Marine, Corporal Maddox, elbowed his buddy when he saw her. "Hey, look, we got a princess." The others chuckled. Another added, "Try not to cry, princess. This ain't ballet." They expected her to flinch, lower her gaze, tighten her shoulders. But Lydia just looked at them, expression calm, and then turned back to the staff sergeant giving instructions. The lack of reaction irritated them. They weren't used to being ignored. Most came for glory. Lydia came for peace. 2 years earlier, her older brother Caleb, her hero, had been killed during a joint operation overseas. The official record called it unforeseen complications. But Lydia had read enough between the lines. Someone made a mistake. Someone didn't take responsibility. Someone let the truth be buried. Caleb had been her compass, her quiet in the storm, her anchor. When he died, something inside her didn't shatter. It hardened. She enlisted, quietly, determinedly, not to replace him, but to honor him. And if the world that took him was corrupt, then she would walk straight into it and change it from the inside, even if she had to bleed for it. By the third day, the Marines had made a routine out of harassing her. During a break, Maddox walked past her and flicked her cover off her head. "Oh no," he mocked dramatically. "Princess lost her crown." Snickers. A few whistles. Lydia calmly picked up the cover, dusted it, and set it back on. No reaction, not a word. One Marine muttered, "Creepy how she doesn't fight back." Another said, "Nah, she knows she'll cry if she opens her mouth." But she didn't cry. She just watched, quietly, like a soldier studying the terrain before a mission. Staff Sergeant Roth observed the harassment from afar. He was the kind of Marine old recruits feared and new ones admired. Gravel voice, permanent sunburn, and the posture of someone carved from stubborn stone. One evening, as Lydia stood alone cleaning her gear under the dim barracks lights, Roth approached. "You don't fire back," he said without introduction. "No, Staff Sergeant. You letting 'em run over you?" "No, Staff Sergeant. Then why the silence?" Lydia paused. "Because reacting gives them what they want." Roth studied her. "Hale, you got something most don't have at your age." She met his gaze. Discipline. It was the closest thing to praise he had given anyone that month. Silence only fuels insecure men. Maddox and his group decided they needed to humble Lydia. Officially, Marines and SEAL candidates weren't supposed to interact outside structured drills, but unofficially, base culture had its shadows. They picked the worst night possible. A moonless one. Fog rolling in, limited visibility, perfect for misconduct. The night operations drill was supposed to be simple, a simulated hostile extraction with teams rotating through the training kill house. Lydia's squad was last on the schedule. Maddox's group conveniently volunteered to assist as opposing force role players. The instructors approved it. They had no reason to expect foul play. Roth, however, sensed something off. He couldn't prove it, but his gut whispered trouble. Inside the dark kill house, Lydia moved with steady precision, smooth footsteps, controlled breathing, eyes scanning corners. Her teammates were jittery, still new, still learning. Maddox and 5 Marines waited on the second floor, masks on, sim guns ready. But Maddox had brought something else. Real aggression, real bitterness, real intent to break someone. When Lydia reached the stairwell landing, a Marine suddenly grabbed her from behind, pinning her arms. "Got the princess," he whispered. Another Marine blocked the exit. Maddox stepped out of the shadows. Even through his mask, she could feel his grin. "You've been real quiet," he said. "Let's see if we can change that." Her teammates froze, unsure, afraid, confused by the sudden break in protocol. "Let her go," one whispered. Maddox ignored him. "Try not to cry, Hale. Wouldn't want to smudge your mascara." Lydia's calm never shifted. She spoke only 2 words. "Training violation." Maddox shrugged. "Accidents happen." He reached for her collar, and that's when something inside her finally moved. Not anger, not fear, just decision. What they didn't know, what nobody knew, was that Lydia had been training privately for over a year before selection. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Close quarters combat, air squats until her legs trembled. Hill sprints at 4 a.m. Grip training until her hands bled. When Maddox's hand touched her uniform collar, she shifted her weight, trapped the Marine's arm holding her, and executed a shoulder throw so clean it echoed across the stairwell. The Marine hit the floor with a thud. Before anyone could react, she pivoted, disarmed another Marine's sim gun, and slammed him into the wall. Maddox charged. She sidestepped, crashed her elbow into his ribs, swept his knee, and sent him collapsing. 2 more came rushing down the hall. Lydia moved like a storm, calculated, quiet, precise. One got a knee to the solar plexus, another got flipped over the railing, landing on a padded mat below with a yelp. 6 Marines. 1 woman, 2 minutes. When she finally stopped, chest heaving, she looked down at Maddox. "This is training," she said quietly. "Not war, not cruelty, not intimidation." She stood, straightened her uniform, and walked to the instructor's room to report the incident. But the story wasn't over, not by a long shot. The instructors were stunned, not because of the fight. Fights happened, but because Maddox was the nephew of Colonel Everett, a man known for protecting his own and burying what threatened them. Maddox was rushed to the base clinic. Everett was notified within minutes. By morning, Lydia was summoned. The room smelled of old paper and antiseptic. Colonel Everett sat behind the desk, jaw clenched. "You assaulted 6 Marines," he said coldly. Lydia didn't blink. "They ambushed me, sir. No witnesses confirm your version." Her brows lowered slightly. "My squad already submitted statements," he interrupted, "and each one says you overreacted." She felt the sting, a quiet betrayal. The colonel leaned forward. "Withdraw your complaint, Candidate Hale, or I'll ensure your military career ends before it starts." She held his gaze. "My brother died because someone covered up a mistake," she whispered. "I won't help you cover up another." It was the first time anger flickered in Everett's eyes. "You're done here." Just as the colonel reached for his dismissal paperwork, the office door swung open. Staff Sergeant Roth walked in. No knock. No permission. "Sir, I witnessed Maddox harassing Hale for 3 days, and I just reviewed the training logs. His team wasn't authorized to change roles last night." Everett stiffened. Roth continued, "And I pulled the hallway camera footage." There it was. The truth. Everett's plan collapsed silently. Roth stepped beside Lydia. "If you try to force her out, sir, I will take the footage straight to command, and to JAG, and to the Navy Oversight Board." In that moment, Colonel Everett realized he was outmatched, not by rank, but by integrity. "Fine," he snapped. "Get out! Roth didn't move." "Say it correctly, sir." Everett glared, jaw clenched. "Candidate Hale is cleared of all wrongdoing." Only then did Roth nod. "Thank you, sir." Lydia returned to training. But something had changed. The base wasn't whispering about her weakness anymore. They whispered about the girl who took down 6 Marines, and didn't brag about it, didn't gloat, didn't even mention it. She trained harder, ran farther, studied longer. Her instructors noticed. So did the Navy. 6 months later, she was offered the chance to attempt something historically brutal. Basic underwater demolition, SEAL training. Bud S. The ocean was black. The wind was a screaming wall, and bodies dropped out of training like flies. Lydia didn't. She carried boats on her shoulder until her bones felt like cracking. She crawled across sand until her elbows bled. She shivered through surf torture until her lips turned blue. A classmate once asked, during a rare moment of rest, "Why don't you quit?" "Everyone's got a reason," she whispered back. "I'm not here to win. I'm here to prove that courage isn't owned by bullies." The day she earned the trident, Staff Sergeant Roth attended quietly, standing in the crowd. He didn't cheer, he didn't wave, but when Lydia passed, he gave her a single nod. The kind a father gives a child he's proud of. The kind that says, "You changed your story. You changed this place. You changed me." Camp Granger sits quiet now. New recruits come and go. New officers patrol the hallways, but sometimes at night her story resurfaces. A young Marine will whisper, "Hey, you hear about the girl they called Princess?" And someone else will answer, "Yeah, the one who became a SEAL, the one who took down 6 Marines, the one who never broke." They never say it mockingly anymore. They say it with respect. True courage isn't in battle, but in standing for what's right, even when you stand alone.